The beautiful city of Melbourne, Florida. You have sunshine, beaches, rockets. What could possibly go wrong? Well, a lot if you don't know what you're walking into. That's why today I'm going to break down the biggest mistakes people make when relocating to Melbourne, so you don't end up regretting your move just months after unpacking that last box. Stick around because mistake number 7 is one that trips up even locals when they moved into the area. And it could cost you thousands of dollars. I'm sure you don't want that. Hey, I'm Stephen Thomas, your local Space Coast realtor based right here in Melbourne, Florida. I help people just like you relocate to the area stress-free with zero surprises. Schedule your free relocation discovery call in the description below. If you're thinking about making that move, let's avoid these mistakes together. Mistake number 1, underestimating commute time. All right. Let's start with one of the most frustrating and surprising mistakes people make when they move here, and that's underestimating how long it takes to get around. On the map, Melbourne looks pretty compact, but in reality, it's spread out like peanut butter on hot toast. And if you're not careful, that quick drive to work can turn into a 35-minute crawl, one way. Here's the deal. Melbourne isn't just one city block. It includes downtown Melbourne, which is artsy. They have older homes, tighter roads. Then you also have West Melbourne. Lots of shopping, and plenty of residential growth. And as we head north, we have Suntree and Vieira, which is a newer area, suburban. They have great schools. Then we have Palm Bay, which is more affordable, but can be 10 to 12 miles from downtown. Then we have Beachside. Barrier Island life is beautiful, but those bridges, they back up like crazy during rush hours or even events. According to the 2023 INRIX Global Traffic Scorecard, I-95 near Melbourne frequently slows down to under 25 miles an hour during peak hours, especially between exits 180, which is US 192, and Wickham Road. And for those of you who are already here, you know what I'm talking about. Now, Melbourne may not be New York or Miami, but traffic bottlenecks on Wickham Road, Babcock, and Palm Bay Road are real, especially when schools let out or there's construction, which seems like all the time. Don't even get me started on the Pineda Causeway or the O'Galley Causeway. If you're commuting beachside, those bridges can jam up fast. And the crazy part is, there's no real shortcut, so you just gotta go through it. But now that I'm thinking about it, there is a pro tip that I can give you guys. Before you fall in love with a house, test drive your commute, both in the morning and in the evening. I've had clients move here thinking their job was just down the street, only 10 miles away, but they quickly found out that it could take up to 45 minutes with school zone delays and heavy traffic. Trust me, you don't want to spend more time in your car than at the beach, right? Listen, you think traffic's your only headache? Let's talk hurricanes, heat, and you guessed it, the bugs. All right, mistake number 2, not budgeting for hurricane insurance. Now, Florida living in general comes with a cost, and I'm not talking just about sunscreen and pool maintenance. I'm talking about wind and flood insurance, adult issues. And trust me, if you're moving to Melbourne and don't factor this in, it can hit your wallet harder than the storm itself. So listen, hurricane season runs from June through November. While Melbourne isn't hit as often as, say, the Panhandle or the Keys, we've still had direct impacts many eons ago. Most recently, Hurricane Nicole in 2022, which brought coastal flooding and strong winds to Brevard County. Now here's what surprises most newcomers. Just because a property isn't in a FEMA designated high-risk flood zone doesn't mean you're safe. In fact, FEMA reports that over 25% of flood damage claims come from homes located outside of high-risk zones. And the worst part, standard homeowners insurance doesn't cover flood damage. You'll need to purchase a separate flood policy, either through FEMA's National Flood Insurance Program, or NFIP for short, or through a private insurer. To give you an idea, homes near the Indian River Lagoon or Turkey Creek in Palm Bay are at higher risk for flooding, even if they're technically outside a special flood hazard zone. And I have a quick stat for you. The average NFIP flood insurance premium in Florida is around $958 a year. And also, windstorm coverage can add another $1,500 to $3,000 depending on the roof type, age, and construction materials. So before making an offer on the home, always do 2 things. Use the FEMA Flood Map Service Center to verify if it's in a flood zone or not, or ask the seller for their current insurance declarations page. This just gives you a ballpark amount of what you'll pay for windstorm and flood coverage for that particular home. So bottom line, if you're shopping for a home with a $2,000 a month budget, but forget to factor in the possibility of $300 a month for hurricane insurance, you're going to be in for a rude awakening. So you're going to want to plan smart now so you're not scrambling when the next storm forms off the coast. Now, mistake number 3, ignoring pest control. Now listen, if you think you're moving to paradise and won't have roommates, let me introduce you to Florida's unofficial mascot, the palmetto bug. So translation, it's a giant flying roach that shows up in your kitchen like it pays rent, except it doesn't, and it never calls first. These things can grow up to 2 inches long and they fly. Yes, you heard correctly, a roach that flies. They love dark, warm, and moist places. So if you leave your garage door open or have gaps under your doors, it's an open invitation. And that's not all. Welcome to the bug buffet. You have fire ants, ghost ants, sugar ants, termites, fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, and in some areas, yes, snakes in your backyard. Oh my. Termites are a huge issue in Florida. Our warm, humid climate is a breeding ground for them. In fact, Florida is home to both native and an invasive species, including the aggressive Formosan termites. According to the University of Florida's IFAS extension, Florida homeowners spend over $500 million annually on termite control and damage repairs. So do yourself a favor, don't be a part of that. And here's the kicker. Most standard homeowners insurance policies do not cover termite damage, so prevention is key. Even your beautiful Florida landscaping can backfire. All those palm trees, mulch beds, and thick tropical bushes, they're bug magnets if not maintained properly. And here's the real mistake. People move here thinking pest control is a once in a while thing. Nope. In Florida, it's a monthly necessity, so please incorporate that in your bill. And here's a pro tip. Expect to pay between $35 and $60 a month for general pest control. Termite prevention treatments like bait stations or barrier systems can cost between $600 to $1,000 up front, depending on your home size and type, obviously. Bottom line, pest control isn't optional in Florida, it's survival. Treat it like your internet bill. Not sexy, but absolutely essential. Grossed out yet? Don't worry, Melbourne still has a lot to offer. But don't make this next mistake unless you feel isolated and frustrated. Mistake number 4, picking the wrong neighborhood. Let's talk neighborhoods, because this is where most people get it wrong. They move to Melbourne, Florida thinking every area is going to be beachy and breezy. And then they realize they bought a home 40 minutes from the beach, next to a junkyard, and nowhere near where they actually want to be. Melbourne isn't one uniform town. It's a patchwork of totally different vibes, price points, and lifestyles. And if you don't know the difference, you could end up in a neighborhood that looks great on Zillow, but feels totally wrong in real life. And I'll give you a neighborhood rundown real quick. Number 1, we have Viera. They have master plan communities, golf carts, and town centers. Viera is the poster child for planned suburban living. So think newer homes, excellent schools, sidewalks everywhere, parks, golf courses, and even a stadium. They have top-rated schools like Viera High School and tons of family-friendly amenities. They're also close to the Avenue Shopping Center, and I have to throw this in there, they have higher HOA fees, and homes here average around $450,000 to $600,000. Redfin reports that as of mid-2025, Viera's median home prices is approximately $160,000 higher than Palm Bay. That's something to think about. And then we have downtown Melbourne. This place has art festivals, street murals, vintage shops, and rooftop bars. So you want walkability, character, and a nightlife? Downtown Melbourne has all the personality. It's a bit artsy, a bit edgy, and definitely not a cookie cutter place. They have older homes from like the 1920s to the 1950s. You can walk to coffee shops, bars, and even events like the Melbourne Art Festival. They also have smaller lots, sometimes no HOA, but occasional maintenance surprises. And home prices vary widely from the $300,000 to $550,000 depending on updates and the location. Zillow shows that many homes have appreciated due to historical charm and the proximity to the water. And then we have my original stomping ground, that's Palm Bay. Palm Bay is Melbourne's neighbor to the south, and it's huge. Literally the largest city in Brevard County by land area. You'll find everything from 3 bedrooms, 2 bath homes under $300,000 to brand new builds over $400,000. Palm Bay has very mixed areas. One street can feel upscale, the next could be underdeveloped. There's also no HOAs in many parts. Freedom, but also occasional chaos. I may warn you. You have new builds from Miranda, Focus, and other builders are popping up quickly. This place is also great if you're on a budget, but drive the neighborhood before you commit. According to Realtor.com, Palm Bay's median home price is around $310,000 as of 2025. And then we have a little area in Melbourne called Lake Washington. This place has wide lots, horses, and mature oak trees. I know that's random, but I just had to say it. If you dream of space, quiet, and maybe even room for your boat or RV, Lake Washington might just be your vibe. Those homes sit on a half an acre to multi-acre lots. You get the semi-rural feel, but still only 15 to 20 minutes to shopping and the beaches. And most of those homes out there are custom built. I gotta warn you, there are septic and well water in some areas. This is important for financing and maintenance. Now, Lake Washington is not for everyone, but it's loved by those who do value privacy. Quick fact, Zillow shows listings between $500,000 and $900,000 depending on acreage and upgrades in that particular area of Lake Washington. So what's the takeaway? A 5-minute drive in Melbourne can take you from a master planned suburb to a no HOA jungle, all the way to a horse pasture. Super random, right? If you just go off pretty pictures online, you might land somewhere totally off from your lifestyle. So here's a pro tip. Before you buy, ask yourself, do I want a neighborhood where kids ride bikes and there's no HOA? Or do I want no rules, no neighbors, and room for a garden? That answer will make or break your move. Speaking of moving, if you want a custom relocation plan tailored to your budget and lifestyle, I'd love to help. Click the link below to schedule a call. I'll help break down every area so you land in the one that fits for you. Mistake number 5, assuming all schools are great. All right, let's talk about a big one, schools. Whether you have kids or not, don't skip this part because it affects your wallet, your quality of life, and your future resale value. So here's the deal. Brevard County, where Melbourne is located, has a mix of top-rated and not so great schools. Some schools in the area are phenomenal. For example, you have West Shore Junior Senior High in Melbourne. This place consistently ranks as one of the top public high schools in the entire state of Florida. It's a public magnet school, but it's selective and competitive. To kind of sidetrack, as of 2024, West Shore had a 10 for 10 rating on greatschools.org with SAT scores over 1,200 and 100% graduation rate. So it's no surprise homes near here carry a price. Carry a price premium, and you gotta be ready to pay. But here's where the mistake happens. People assume all Melbourne area schools are at that level, and they're just simply not. Let's say you're looking at a home in Palm Bay, which borders Melbourne to the south. Now, it might be beautiful, affordable, and recently renovated, but zoned for a school like Heritage High, which right now holds a 4 out of 10 rating on greatschools.org due to lower academic performance and college readiness scores. Then you have other schools like Stone Magnet Middle that are rated at a 3 out of 10, so you really need to do your homework before signing a contract. Greatschools.org pulls its data from state test scores, student growth metrics, equity ratings, and even parent reviews, and it's free to use. So if you want, do your due diligence. And here's a pro tip. Even if you don't have kids, school zones do matter. Why? Because the next buyer might. Homes in top-rated zones tend to sell faster, hold their value longer, and appreciate better over time. I always recommend my clients check school zones before anything else. And don't just go off the district name. Zoom in, cross-check the property address on Brevard County school zoning tool to confirm exactly what school you're zoned for. And if you want help figuring out which neighborhoods feed into the best rated schools within your budget, that's just what I do. Link below to schedule a free call. It's in the description if you need to find it. Okay, I got a serious question. Do you like doing stuff? I know I do, because this next mistake could leave you bored and frustrated, especially if you're used to big city living. Mistake number 6. Thinking Melbourne is like Orlando, when it's simply not. Okay, let's clear something up. One of the biggest misconceptions about Melbourne, Florida is that it's like a mini Orlando, just with a beach. Here's a spoiler alert. It's not. There's no Disney, no Universal Studios, no iDrive packed with neon lights, and certainly no Magic Kingdom fireworks every night. And the nightlife is more IPA and acoustic guitar than bottle service and DJ sets. Melbourne's downtown is charming, yes, cute boutiques, coffee shops, and local art galleries. But when the sun goes down, things tend to get real quiet, which could be a good or a bad thing depending on who you are. Most restaurants close by 9 or 10. There's only a handful of bars like the Iron Oak Post, Hell and Blazes Brewery, and Main Street Pub. But if you're looking for an all-night party scene, this ain't it. Now, don't get me wrong. What Melbourne does offer is a laid-back beach town lifestyle, paddleboarding at sunrise, rocket launches you can watch from your backyard, farmers markets, arts festivals, and a genuine community vibe. In fact, Brevard County hosted 72 rocket launches in 2023 alone. I literally just seen one last night. So if you're a space nerd, you're definitely in heaven. But if you're coming here expecting the same hustle, attractions, and entertainment options as Orlando, you're going to be sadly disappointed. For context, Orlando has over 74 million tourists per year, while the entire Space Coast, including Melbourne, sees just around 2.7 million. That's a big difference. So the vibe is completely different. This is one of the reasons I always ask clients, are you looking for nightlife and theme parks, or are you looking for peace and paddle boards? Because Melbourne's strength is in its simplicity. You trade 24/7 entertainment for a slower pace, incredible beaches, and honestly, a better quality of life without a lot of people. Just don't expect Mickey Mouse to greet you at the airport. I think if you did, that would be creepy. I'd run. And here's a pro tip. Plan fun weekend escapes to Orlando like I do. It's only about an hour and 15 minutes away, and you can go to Disney, Universal, you can go to the Orlando Eye, and just different things. Experience it without having to spend a boatload of money. Mistake number 7, not factoring in hidden costs. Cost of living in Melbourne is reasonable until it's not. This is where a lot of people get blindsided. You move here for the sunshine, space launches, and laid back vibes, and then suddenly you're staring at your water bill, wondering if you're being scammed or not. So here's some hidden costs to watch for. The first one being homeowners associations or HOAs. A lot of Melbourne's newer and cleaner neighborhoods are part of an HOA. That can mean great amenities, but also extra fees. Monthly dues in Melbourne range from $40 to over $350 a month, depending on the neighborhood obviously. Some include lawn care, security gates, fitness centers, and even RV and boat storage. But some don't cover much at all, and you still have to pay. Here's an example. In Vieira East, HOAs average $110 to $160 a month. In upscale communities like Suntree or Heritage Isles, dues can exceed $300 a month. And here's another pro tip. Always ask for a full breakdown of HOA fees and what do they include. And check if there are any transfer fees at closing. Some HOAs charge $200 to $500 just to move in. 2. You have water, sewer, and trash services. Not all homes in Melbourne have the same setup. Some areas, especially in Palm Bay, use well water. Others are on city water with tiered billing rates. City of Melbourne water customers pay around $2.86 per 1,000 gallons. But if you exceed usage, that can jump to over $5 per 1,000 gallons. Please protect that wallet. And don't forget, well water homes need regular filtration, softener salt, and pump maintenance. And also trash/recycling is typically billed quarterly and varies by municipality. And then you have those godforsaken toll roads. This one hits folks commuting west towards Orlando if you're going down State Road 528 or State Road 417. Both of these places have tolls and they add up fast if you're doing it daily. If you go on State Road 528, which is also called the Beach Line or B Line for short, this place costs around $2.50 to $4 one way, depending on entry and exit point. That's $160 to $200 a month if you're commuting. Another cost, new construction fees, you have CDD and impact fees. If you're buying a brand new home, don't forget about the surprise taxes built in. And let's touch on that CDD, or the community development districts. These are extra property taxes used to fund infrastructures in new communities. Impact fees can be built into closing costs, especially for homes in growing areas like West Melbourne or even Palm Bay. Some buyers end up paying an extra $1,000 to $2,000 a year in CDDs on top of the property taxes. So you're going to want to ask about that prior to moving in. According to Numbeo, the average utility bill for a 915 square foot apartment in Melbourne is around $195 a month. That number can be higher in larger homes or during the summer when AC usage spikes. But you know I gotta have my pro tips, man. I always ask for a full HOA budget sheet, check the water systems. And what I mean by that, is it well or is it city? And review your estimated utility bills and tax bill before you even sign a contract. Trust me, it'll save you from a sticker shocker later on. Hidden costs are one of the biggest reasons people regret where they bought, not what they bought. Okay, now that we've covered the biggest mistakes people make when moving to Melbourne, let's flip the script here. Here's what people actually love when they get settled in and what keeps them here long term. Number 1, we have, you guessed it, the beaches. Melbourne has some of the cleanest, least crowded beaches in Florida's East Coast. You've got Canova Beach, which is one of the few dog-friendly beaches in Brevard County. Then there's Paradise Beach and the Indian Atlantic Boardwalk, where you can catch live music or food trucks on the weekends. You have no massive spring break crowds like South Florida, just warm water and space to breathe. According to Visit Space Coast, there are over 72 miles of beaches stretching from Cape Canaveral to Melbourne Beach. That means there's plenty of shoreline for swimming, surfing, or quiet morning walks. Another reason is rocket launches from your backyard. I can't emphasize that enough because this never gets old. Even after years of living here, I still get chills watching the SpaceX launch light up the sky, especially during the night. Melbourne sits just south of the Kennedy Space Center in Cape Canaveral, meaning launches are clearly visible, often even shaking your windows. You can even time your beach day with a liftoff. Try doing that in Orlando. You can't. In 2023 alone, SpaceX launched over 90 missions, and in 2024, they have hit over 100. Now, another reason, the job market is quietly booming. While Miami and Orlando get all the headlines, Melbourne is quietly becoming a tech and aerospace hub. This place is home to L3 Harris Technologies, one of the largest defense contractors in the US. Then you have Northrop Grumman, Brevard, and Lockheed Martin. They all have major facilities here. Healthcare is also booming, with Health First and Parish Medical Group driving job growth. According to the Economic Development Commission of Florida Space Coast, Brevard County's tech employment is 30% higher than the national average. That's crazy. And another beautiful thing about moving here is there's no state income tax, and the cost of living is simply lower. Here's a financial perk. That alone saves you thousands every year compared to states like New York or California. Combine that with a relatively low property tax rate in Brevard County, and that's about 0.84% compared to the national average of 1.1%, housing still remains affordable compared to South Florida. Now, the median home prices in Melbourne is around $330,000 compared to over $600,000 in Miami. Now, another reason people move here is slower pace with optional adventure. Life moves a little slower here, but in a good way. You have less traffic than most places, less chaos, but still just enough adventure to keep you from getting bored. Some might fight me on that, but go figure. You can go kayaking in Turtle Creek, paddleboarding in the Indian River Lagoon, or bike along the O'Galley Causeway. But if you want more action than that, Orlando is just 75 minutes away, and so is the cruise port in Port Canaveral. And another reason why people love it here is you have easy day trips to iconic destinations. So if you love exploring, Melbourne is the perfect base camp. You have the world famous Disney World, which is only an hour and 15 minutes away. You have the Kennedy Space Center, which is only 40 minutes away. And then you have Party City, aka Miami, which is 2.5 hours away. Then you have the Keys, which is 4.5 hours away. You can visit all these places during the weekend and still make it back in time for dinner. Now, if you're seriously considering Melbourne, download my free relocation checklist below. It covers the neighborhood, school zones, and everything you'll want to know before making that leap. So treat yourself, don't cheat yourself. I built this to save you hours of Googling and possibly thousands in avoidable mistakes. Moving to Melbourne, Florida can be one of the best decisions you make in your life. But as long as you avoid those traps, I've helped dozens of families relocate here the right way, and I'd love to help you do the same. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and leave a comment if you have questions about a specific area or neighborhood. I respond to every single comment personally. Until next time, this is Stephen Thomas, the Realtor, your Space Coast Realtor. I'll see you in the next video.